What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the David Lopez Show, presented by Passion Park ENT. You know what it is. I am glad to be back. I took a couple of week hiatus off the podcast. I was trying to organize things. I had some music I was working on, getting some stuff out. And with that being said, I'll just start the show off right up top by letting you know that I got a brand new song out. It's called Let You Go. Came out 2 weeks ago. Something like that. But it's called Let You Go. It is dedicated to my friend who I have mentioned on the show before, but a friend of mine that passed away recently. So Brandon McGee, rest in peace. That song was dedicated to him. There's the lyric videos out, the live from the home studio performance, like the home studio performance that I've been doing. I've been doing those weekly now. You can stay tuned for those always. Those are on my Instagram or on our website. You go to passionparkent.com/live-from-the-home-stew. Or you just go to our YouTube channel. It's all there. Constantly putting up new content. You know that's how we do. But Let You Go is a song that means a lot to me. Obviously, it was a very important thing. I mean, that's kind of how I deal with things. I mean, even All I Know, the song from the previous month, was a song I wrote directly in response to everything that was happening in our country and is happening in our country. And that's just kind of how I create and how I choose to. I don't even know if it's choose to. It's just how I naturally put my emotions. It's my favorite way to express my emotions, I would say. Obviously, that's why I'm a musician. That's why I do that. So please, if you could check that out, that means a lot. Everybody who's been sharing the kind words about that song so far, that's been very nice. That's it's not like I'm out here trying to make that song be a radio hit or anything like that. It's just more of sentimental value. And if people enjoy it and it gets popular or whatever it may be, that's a bonus. But the sentimental value is high. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, how that's how I choose to share my emotions and how I like to express myself. That is my favorite way to do that. But something else I love to do? I love to fucking talk about sports, and that's it, guys. I just fucking love it, especially now with everything, with the crazy year that this has been, the pandemic, and all this crazy news coverage, political coverage, all this shit. It's nice to have some real sports back, baby, and it's nice to be able to escape all that other stuff and talk about sports, and actual games that are happening. So now with the NBA being back, that has really freed that up and allowed just like having 2:00 games every day. It's like March Madness. It's amazing. I just finished watching up a game right now. I'm recording this intro late at night because we recorded the episode a couple hours earlier. It was like 8:00 at night, so it was later recording time. A lot of times I do the episodes in the morning, early afternoon. But what I'm starting to do, or what I'm trying to do, like I said, I'm trying to organize the show. I'm trying to get everything better. I want the show to be as good as it possibly can be. And with that being said, and now the NBA is back, and I want to have people that I can talk with the NBA about, or talk about the NBA with on a regular basis. So I started a group with a couple of my friends, where we're like, all right, well, whenever we can come up with ideas to talk about, not even ideas, just like basically like weekly NBA talks was my kind of concept. Was like, let's just set it up where it's like a weekly NBA talk. We just do a Zoom, and then there you go. So like, I kind of want to have a recurring cast of figures that come on here and talk about these sports topics. And actually, I have another guest that's going to come on and talk about other topics and be more recurring. So I'm trying to just have more voices. That was the input I got from fans when or from people on Facebook when I posted like, what do you guys want from the show? It was like getting other perspectives and getting other inputs. And I think that makes 100% sense. So I'm trying to do that, and I'm trying to expand that a little bit. But anyways, with that being said, today's show is our first NBA chat, like in the session. But this is just with me and my friend KT. Whenever we're together, like we talk about basketball, we can talk about basketball forever. Like he's a great NBA mind, great basketball mind. He, like a lot of us, hooped his whole life. Me too. So just like when it comes to this shit, it's just kind of a relief to talk about this. That's why actually at the end of the episode, I'm like, yeah, this is my NBA talk AA group, NBA support group. Because that's what it feels like. It's like you just want to have people that you can really like talk basketball with that know what they're talking about and shit. So I had a lot of fun recording this episode tonight. And I think there's going to be a lot more of these. So this is my NBA talk with KT. I do want to leave one note though. This is my first Zoom interview that I've recorded and used for this. I mean, we did I did Instagram Live, and then I did like just phone calls. That's a lot easier, right? So the one thing about this Zoom call, because it's the first time I ever did it, and I was using my mic through my whatever. We'll get through technical nerd terms, but I'm using my mic through my podcast interface, and then to the computer, and that recorded the audio while the computer recorded the video for the Zoom. Long story short, my audio is definitely a little bit delayed. So if you watch the video on YouTube, my audio is delayed from how it looks. It's unfortunate, but there would be way too much editing for me to try to match it up. And in all honesty, I was like, maybe I'll just use the Zoom footage. So, because it's annoying when you look at somebody's voice, but my microphone quality just sounds way better. So I apologize for any of the viewers that might get thrown off by my voice being off, but I'm aware of it. And I think what I need to do is plug the mic straight into the computer for the Zoom calls to get that corrected. But we'll get that figured out. This was the first one like this. I just wanted to give you guys that preemptive warning. If you're listening to the audio, this is going to be no effect at all. But we basically just talk about a bunch of NBA stuff, everything going from TJ Warren going out and balling, just what it's like watching a game with no fans, the digital fans, all the potential playoff matchups that we really like, and the teams that we like going forward. We actually do kind of make some picks for conference champs, but I mean, it's so early. We're just making tentative picks and kind of really just going nothing crazy. But really good NBA talk. So I would hope that you guys enjoy some of this, and I hope you get some, I don't know, I just hope you get some relief from this stupid bullshit going on in 2020. Watch some goddamn NBA. Listen to us talk about some goddamn NBA. I'm going to stop saying goddamn. Get into the show. Let's do it.
David Lopez is the name. It's my show. Welcome to it.
Miami, I feel like it's such an underrated dark horse team in the East, man.
Bro, they're good. It's all Spoelstra, man, but they're good.
Yeah, Spoelstra, like, I feel like, he's one of those guys that obviously when LeBron and D-Wade had him, like, you pretty much can get a paper bag and you're going to figure it out. But as a coach, he's definitely one of the top coaches in the league, man. Like,
well, that's
great.
The thing is people didn't think he was a good coach because he had that, but but they wouldn't have been good with Vinny Del Negro as their coach.
No.
You needed a real coach to pull them together.
Yeah. That's like, yeah, criticism, like guys like him, Steve Kerr gets it a lot. Like, people think, because you have so much talent that, it's all good. But coaching is supremely important, man.
Oh yeah, dude. Actually, Frank Vogel for the Lakers, actually, you can tell that he is not a bad coach. Like, he pulls them together. Like,
yeah, I will admit, I was definitely like, when Frank Vogel got hired, I was like skeptical. I was like, of all the coaches you could have hired to make a run like this year, like, you got LeBron like coming down in the last couple seasons. You got AD. You want to try and get him to keep. Got a great core. I was really skeptical with Frank Vogel, but I'm grateful to say I was wrong.
Like, yeah, I think he's grateful. It's weird because I like Luke Walton. I don't not like him, but his like not having experience, I think. With somebody like LeBron, it's just weird because like he's older than I think he's older than Luke Walton, right? Is he? I don't know. It's weird. That's crazy though. But I love the fact that I honestly didn't even realize there was like the Bucks were on at like 3:00. There was a game at 1. I love this shit.
Yeah,
it's the best.
I think earlier, who was it? Portland and the Clippers played earlier. Was that the game?
Oh, was that the? I honestly didn't even see. It's like March Madness right now.
Man, yeah, it is. It just feels so good to have basketball back. Like, man, like you just forget the fans and all this stuff. Just the fact that you just back is just crazy.
Do you mind? What do you think about the fans? Let's ask about that. What do you think about this so far?
I mean, man, obviously, with COVID and like just everything being sewn up in the air, as far as like as a fan, this is we got basketball back. And then as far as keeping everybody safe and healthy, I think this is probably the best you can probably ask for in terms of like trying to make it happen. You want to keep everybody safe, but you want to get the product and get the players back on the floor. Because I will say this though, like when you look at like all sports leagues, like from basketball, baseball, football, soccer, the NBA has always been like leading the charge, and more often than not, they get things right than wrong.
Yeah,
And I think, in terms of like with the current landscape of now trying to keep everybody healthy and everything, I think this is probably the best of like what it can look like.
oh, this is by far the best out of the sports. They handled it the best. They were just proactive. They were at it. I don't mind the digital fans. I don't actually feel they were necessary. Like watching,
Yeah.
but like I actually think I think we'll get used to them, and then by the playoffs and by the finals, like it might be cool.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, and I like you play ball, so it's like obviously the fans make a difference. Like, of course, like of course, but it's just sometimes like, well, when you hoop, like whether it's empty gym, whether it's a million people, when you hooping, like we hooping. Like,
if I'm being completely honest, I actually think the basketball has been more. Me and my brother were talking about this. I actually think it's been more like real basketball. Like, it's cool to have the fans, and like I'm not saying take away the fans forever, but something about it is more like they're just playing. Like we're just watching them play. Like,
it's like it's pure basketball, and also like not having basketball for almost half a year, and then just like I think if we were thirsty to watch them, you can imagine that everybody would thirsty to get back to play.
Exactly, because I was thinking this too, because like, so these eight games matter kind of for some teams for seeding. There's a couple teams that are trying to get the playoffs, but like the Bucks and the Lakers, like they're pretty much seeded in, and they're good. But they are playing. If this was the regular season and the last 8 games of the season, they would not be playing.
Nah. LeBron and Giannis and AD would have been shut down.
And they look like they almost are treating these games like playoff games, probably because of exactly what you said. Like they haven't got to play in 6 months. Like,
so because it's one thing like seeding, but then also you got to think about a few things. Like you got to think about conditioning.
That's true,
it's one thing you can live. Like not everybody. Like I would guess like players like LeBron, AD, Giannis, like top tier players like that. I would imagine that they have a court in their crib, right? James
so actually,
Harden,
the funny thing, not to interrupt you, but the funny thing about Giannis, since I live up here now, I know a little bit more because he's like he's the fucking central figure up here. But he doesn't have a court in his crib, right? So he bought this like big ass crib in the suburbs, but he doesn't have a court. And he told everybody, he's like, yo, I haven't been to practice. I haven't been able to practice. I haven't been able to shoot around. And then he came to the bubble and he was like, everybody knows I was like, he had a court, but not at his house. He had it somewhere. And
but he had access to it.
He didn't want to tell anybody.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. But just like obviously, it's one thing like you want to get your reps in, your conditioning, lifting weights. I know a lot of story was being made about James Harden, running and trying to slim down and things like that. But it's playing in game shape and like regular in shape are two different things.
It's not. It's hard to replicate. It's really hard to replicate.
Yeah, and that goes for any sport, basketball, football, like whatever, it goes for any sport. So on top of seeding, you got LeBron, AD, all these guys actually playing to get into playing shape, because I think we mentioned earlier about how this format is pure basketball. You play AAU, it's like AAU basketball.
It feels like it. I love it.
There's no razzle dazzle. There's no traveling. We got to go to hotels, go get no. It's strictly we here for basketball.
I love it. Everybody's chilling on the side, like the guys are watching the games. But the no travel thing though, that speaks to so the conditioning obviously matters, and you have to get in game shape. But there is a level of they might all be in better shape anyways because they're not traveling. Like you just deal with it. Like
I was watching earlier, Grant Hill. I was watching Game Time earlier, and Grant Hill mentioned that he was like, just not the wear and tear, like not having to fly and things like that. And, like of course, like they're not like they're not flying.
Commercial,
commercial, but
still
it's
like
the fact of traveling and going places and going through all these things like that. That's eliminated. It's you ain't got to travel too much, but to your room and to the court. Like that's really it. Man, I think that's gonna makes a huge difference in mindset and also just like energy.
That's why I like the Blazers are about to play. Dame Lillard in a situation like this is somebody that I'm like, because you can just tell, and there's a lot of guys, there's a fair amount of guys. He has like a laser focus. Like he doesn't really care about anything else. So like this kind of situation is fine for him. And the funny thing is, I love LeBron. I'm really not I've never been a hater on LeBron. I wrote a book report on LeBron when I was in 7th grade. That's how long this guy has been famous. But he is an entertainer. LeBron's an entertainer. Like he loves playing for the crowd. That is something that I could see. Honestly, it loses. There's like one thing that's not there for him. Like
Okay, that's fair. Man, that actually reminded me of this quote. I forgot who said it, but they were comparing Allen Iverson to the late great Kobe Bryant. And I'm gonna paraphrase it. When the difference was like the difference between the two is Iverson does it. He does it when the lights are on. Kobe does it when the lights are off.
That's a yeah.
Like man, it was such a great quote because again, like we know and like mostly pure. You ain't got to be a pure basketball fan. If you're a basketball fan, you know Allen Iverson, who he was. Like if you grew up, like you know, we grew up in that age.
He was a show, man. He liked to put on a show, man. Like I love AI. Yeah.
He, you know, definitely him and Kobe were the two guys that got me into basketball.
Right.
Like those were the two guys I wanted to be like and play like. But it was just like such a stark difference. And like there are some guys, which again, there's no shame in it. There's nothing wrong with, you know, feeding off the energy, like you said, LeBron's an entertainer, like playing into that crowd. But then there are certain guys, like you mentioned, like Damian Lillard, Westbrook. I feel like
he's kind of the same.
That beast and that intensity, that's going to translate whether he's playing in front of a million people, whether he's playing in front of anybody.
I think Westbrook is exactly. I think Westbrook would be the same way if you were at Lifetime with him, like on the corner. Like he'd be like
Westbrook is going to be good either way. Like yes, you know he get the monstrous dunks and he gets hyped up, but the intensity that I'm gonna run through a brick wall, I'm gonna run through you, he's gonna have that no matter how many people are around. And it's
No, I know it's weird seeing. The other thing about it is I was thinking. I was watching the first day, the first game. So I think it was like Utah and New Orleans on the first night, and some guy hit 3 threes in a row. I can't remember, but he wasn't like a big guy, and it just had me thinking like this kind of does have potential for guys who don't normally catch fire to like catch fire, because like. You think about practice, say you like go like an AAU practice, like there was a guy on a bench who in practice scored 25. That is all that happened. Like
and like you have been previously like a while on Facebook mentioned the point about
TJ Warren.
Like TJ Warren, man.
Yeah.
Well, if you had to like bet on who would be the first to score 50, I don't think keeping on, I don't think nobody would have mentioned TJ Warren except TJ Warren.
Probably, That's where you gotta mention yourself if you can do that.
Exactly. Yeah, and of course, like you know, everybody in the NBA is good, of course. Like that's why they're there.
Yeah.
But there's like certain guys who just they're good and they're just a step above level. When you think of the superstar, the top 10, 15 guys in the league who just they're beyond. And what TJ Warren did, then did you see the follow up he did?
Yeah, he had like 35 or something.
He had like 35, yeah.
Well, he gets buckets, man.
he reminds me of Lou Will, just like a Lou Will, Jamal Crawford kind of guy where they just buckets.
Yeah,
they just score. Wake
up, getting buckets.
If you don't stop him, either like foul him, send him to the line. You gotta try and get him out of his rhythm. He can rattle off 20. Like he's showing that he can rattle off 20 points easy.
He got traded for cash considerations.
Cash consideration.
Cash. Straight cash, homie. Straight
cash, bro. Like straight cash. And like he's one of the guys that's showing like what's really good about this too is like he can use guys like that can use this to carry over to next season.
Yeah, he can get paid from this too. Like
you can get paid from this, and then not only can you get paid, and like, but you're gonna get to the opportunity. Like,
but he's the kind of guy that kind of goes to that like not needing the crowd. Like he's just like he'll probably get buckets wherever. He's just like he's
just a hooper. And cash considerations, bro.
I know it's crazy. It's crazy, but like that happened. You know the thing about basketball, which I think I've said this before, is it's like. There is a lot of people who are really good at basketball. Like there's a lot of people who are really good at basketball. But the difference between a professional, like the difference between an NBA player and like a good basketball player is so significant. It's like crazy to realize. Like I remember always thinking Chris Duhon was whatever, and then I saw him and I was sitting like almost courtside, and I was like, oh my god, like this guy was amazing.
And like that, like we play ball, so like we know like the difference in skills and talent level and skill set. But I think like a lot of times, especially like we live in this day and age where everybody has an opinion, social media, you can get your opinion to the person across the world. Like the idea of like how good people in the NBA are, I think really is severely diminished. Cause it's funny. I remember growing up, Aaron Gray, when he was with the Bulls, it was a huge target for jokes.
I remember him. Yeah,
he was trash. He sucks. He's this. He was a huge target for jokes. But it was just always reminded by just people like analysts and people like on social media, like, he's still in the league.
And like actually, like he had, I think he played at Pitt. Did he play at Pitt? I'm trying to remember where he played at. I don't remember where he played. But whatever. He's in a good example. He's like you're 7 footer. You got to be skilled to get there. You got to be super. Yeah, nah, it's a whole different. I mean, there's only 350. Like
who was it? I think Jaylen Brown. I think he a while ago he had this series where he would pull up and play fans one-on-one that were talking trash, and he would just like demolish them and embarrass them. Like and it's like. When you watch pros play like in open gyms and other courts, like you can tell like the way they move, it's just different.
Oh
like,
yeah, it's like, dude,
like
they did. I don't know if people remember. So obviously they did the horse NBA horse thing when this pandemic started, but they did the horse like a bunch of years back. They tried horse at All-Star Weekend. They did NBA horse, and Rajon Rondo was in it. And Rajon Rondo is known for not being a good shooter, right?
Yeah,
he's playing horse. He hits like 10 threes in a row, like easily. Like he's just because like this. If there's no defenders, these guys are that good. It's just like practice. It's just
like you mentioned. So when you think about the game of basketball, like it's one of the most popular sports in the world, just from any age level, ethnicity, income level, no matter. It's just basketball. When you think of having people call themselves basketball players or play basketball, the fact that there are only 350 guys.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So that I don't know what if tens of hundreds of thousands of people play basketball. So like there are only 350 guys out of every single person who picks up basketball and qualifies as a basketball player that have a job at the highest level of profession. If that's not exclusive, I don't know. Like I don't even know how to define exclusive. It's crazy.
It's so real. I guess that speaks to why I like that. Hopefully the G League becomes a bigger thing, because I think that would be a better avenue for so many good, talented players who don't want to go the traditional like school route. And now we're starting to see people go overseas and do other things like that.
Yeah.
Somebody just said they were doing. I'm trying to remember. Giannis's younger brother.
Yeah.
He I think he just graduated high school and he's not going to college. He's just going straight overseas.
Yeah. I remember who did Brandon Jennings did that.
Oh yeah, he did that, and then he came back because he didn't want to go to school. Yeah. I mean, you also get paid for a year. You get more professional experience. Like Luka Doncic, like, by the way, people are talking about him like they're like, because this is his first playoff run. They're like, I'm worried about, it's his first playoff run. The one thing I'm not worried about is that that dude's been playing in the playoffs since he was like 14 years old.
He's been playing since 14. I think Karl Anthony Towns. I don't know. He didn't play overseas, but he's been playing like pro competition since he was like 14. Like it's certain guys that like.
Wait, where's he from? The Dominican?
Yeah, Dominican. Yeah, right? I think he played with the national team as well. I think.
He played under Calipari.
Yeah. But it's just certain guys that like no matter where they play, it could be overseas, it could be college level. It's certain guys that their talent and like their game is just so far ahead. Like it just doesn't matter where they play. But don't get me wrong. Like I definitely see and understand the appeal of playing at a big name school.
Oh yeah.
Playing in front of Duke, Carolina, Kentucky. Kansas, like all those big name schools and things like that. But there are some people like I like the fact that how we're going, like we're trying to get like the NBA is trying to like kind of not put as much emphasis on going to college as the only route, because some people don't need to go to college. Zion Williamson didn't need to go to college. I think he's
a great example.
Like, he came straight out of high school and he would have been perfectly fine. Yeah. Like he did not need to go to college.
Because he was like so like tailor made for it.
Yeah,
like, they were like, there's just certain people like
obviously like going to play for a great coach, they can help you tailor your game a little bit more, of course. But there are some people like you just.
Well, I remember my brother when he was at DePaul said that Wilson Chandler, like he came to school like the first 2 months and then like everybody knew he was going to the draft and he's still playing, but they like there was no school. You didn't need to go to school. I mean,
he didn't need to go, but like because it like like there are certain guys who need to use the school to elevate their draft stock and like do a little showcase a little bit more. Sure, like that's definitely a great avenue for him, but I like what the NBA is doing. Like they're kind of like. Just kind of like again being progressive and like trying to understand like there are multiple avenues to get to the same place.
Well, I am hoping that they go back to the 18 draft rule. Not it's just right. I don't know. It's just there's no reason to not have that as a rule. And it's just weird.
Absolutely.
So I hope they do that. What was I was gonna say something. Oh wait. Okay. So all right. So right now, so the Bucks lost again today, which they pretty much have that 1 seed sealed up. So that's not that big of a deal. But they're going to play. Is there any first round playoff matchups that you're looking at? Because the Bucks and the Raptors are going to be fine. I think they're playing the Nets.
The Raptors.
Raptors look good.
The Raptors need to get some love. Like the Raptors need to get love.
They look so good. And then like And how good did Kyle Lowry look against the Lakers?
Like Kyle Lowry's he's a hooper. And I will say this, like not even also on the bandwagon tip. I remember a while ago when he was free agent coming from Houston, I wanted him to come to the Lakers. Like I remember the Lakers were in talks of acquiring him. I think for whatever it fell through. But Kyle Lowry's a hooper.
That's right. He got drafted by Houston, right? He was drafted by Houston, and then he was a free agent after a couple of years and signed with Toronto. That's how that worked. Yeah.
Like Kyle Lowry is a hooper. He's one of those guys that you like. He is a winning player. He makes winning.
Yeah,
plays.
Yeah.
And he's an actual.
And then Fred VanVleet is so much better than people thought. Rockford's finest, baby. But he had 36 the other night. So if Toronto finishes the 2 seed, which is most likely, they're gonna finish the 2. It's gonna be 1-2 Milwaukee Toronto. Yeah. They'll play Brooklyn and Orlando. They'll win those series. Yeah. That's nothing.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, so the second round will be for the Bucks will be either Miami or the Pacers. And Miami will win that. I think Miami will win that.
Yeah. I think Miami will beat the Pacers.
But a Bucks Heat second round, that's pretty.
I'm saying, like, Miami
with no home court, man. God.
Like Miami
They're so tough.
Is a tough outing. Like, especially in the second round. Like,
that's
I still got Milwaukee coming out the East only because I just think when you just look at just top to bottom and run through it, like the talent and Giannis is just crazy, but it's not gonna be a cakewalk.
Giannis kind of falls into the mold of, in my opinion, which is why I think one reason I really do love him as a superstar is that he falls into that mold. Is I actually don't think the crowd affects him at all. That motherfucker just wants to fucking dunk on you.
Nah. Like he just want to hoop. He just want to just yam it, go through. Like again, like when you look at Giannis when he first came into the league to what he is now, the fact that his skill set and his game has just evolved and he's gotten better at doing everything else, not just one dimensional thing. It's scary.
He was like he was the 15th or 16th pick, man.
He was.
That's gotta
teach first round pick.
Teach you guys that the number one pick is not always everything. I mean, in most drafts, the number one pick is it, but not every draft.
You know, I think it's funny. Like just off the top of my head, I think they're actually, when you look at the NBA's number one picks through history, I think there have actually been more number one picks in the NBA who weren't the best player in that draft in any other league.
That actually, I would love to go through that because that's a pretty good. I would think you're right. I would think that there's more times than not that the best player was not the number one overall pick. But I would also say, I'm curious to know, in comparison to how many number one draft picks, how many would you consider a bust, and how many would you know what I mean?
Well, like, off top, so obviously, you know, you got the LeBron, Allen Iversons. You know, you got those guys who just number one, just lock. No question.
One thing I will say, no question. Actually, those two names that you said up top, pretty much, Allen Iverson was a super high prospect, like super high regarded, and he lived up to his hype, if not more. Yeah. LeBron James was the most hyped up player we've ever seen in the history of the world, and he has exceeded his hype, which is amazing.
Way exceeded it, like beyond it.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Like,
yeah, but you know that's actually a good point when you think about number one picks, like who would you consider a bust and like relative to like being drafted? Like off the top of my head, like Anthony Bennett.
Oh, he's a bust. I mean, that like, he is because he's not even. He doesn't even have a career. I guess how do we define a bust? I mean, like if you can't sustain an 8-year NBA career or something like that, I mean, I have a problem with it. I mean, like okay, so the Bulls, Elton Brand.
Yeah, see, Elton Brand was solid.
He was good. Yeah,
he was good. He was like
he was an all-star.
He was an all-star, yeah. Like he was an all-star solid, but when you look at like just like number one player, like the number one pick of the draft is like
he didn't change the team. Like he didn't make them
like it's so tough because obviously hindsight is always the best thing. Because when you look at 2013 is when Anthony Bennett came out. So you can agree Damian Lillard is the best player out the draft, right? Yeah. Like if you go back, he would probably be the number one pick. Like
no, he definitely would be, but I guess I would have to go back and read the draft grades on him. You know what I mean? It's really hard to say.
It's so tough because you have things like, you know, you have people like a lot of things can happen like when you get drafted. Like, you know, some people it just doesn't work out. Injuries. When you think about KD and Greg Oden. Like obviously Kevin Durant is the guy, but Greg Oden wasn't like a bum. Like he wasn't like a scrub. Like he just literally could not stay healthy.
Yeah, he couldn't.
Like,
Even when he played in the league, he had good games. He would have been good. He would have been good if he could have been healthy.
He just could. Like it's just one thing. He just could not stay healthy. Like it just didn't work out. Like
who is the worst number 1 overall pick of all time? I would have to look through that. You know, like Michael Olowokandi was a number 1 overall pick. And he was the candy man. He was like just a solid whatever guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, like what do you have to be to not be a bust to be the number 1 overall pick? Who was the number 1 overall? Well, Markelle Fultz, right?
Markelle Fultz, which again, he's
balling now.
Yeah, he's been open. Like he just needed a better situation. Like this is the thing. Like
wait, was he number 1 or number 2? He was a number 1 overall pick.
Number 1.
Yeah,
he's number 1. He's number 1. Yeah, he was number 1.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, he was number 1. Yeah. Like it's like some players like that, like they just need a better situation.
Yeah.
Because like where you drafted as number 1, even though you go number 1, isn't always the best place for you to go.
Well, you know what's funny about this particular conversation, which just randomly came up, is that most people widely regarded Michael Jordan, obviously the greatest player of all time, and he was the 3rd overall pick. So you would be like, holy shit, how does he the 3rd overall pick? But in all honesty, the Houston Rockets did not make the wrong decision. They
not at all.
chose Hakeem Olajuwon. I mean,
not at all. Not at all.
I mean, so that's interesting that like he's the greatest player of all time, but still that Hakeem the dream, man.
It's because like when you sticking with drafts, when you think about drafts, like there are certain draft classes that obviously like there is the guy that sticks out like just off the top of your head, but then when you look at who else was drafted in that class, it's like looking back, like obviously like again hindsight, you can say like okay, Michael Jordan should have been the number 1 pick. He's Michael Jordan, but then when you go back to that draft class at that time, Hakeem wasn't a slouch. Like he was
amazing. And what was the team situation at the time?
Yeah.
Did they have Clyde at the time, or how did that work?
It wasn't at the time. It wasn't Clyde.
He came in right. Did he come in that draft? Yeah.
Or was he with? Did he come in that draft?
No, he didn't. No, he was on the Blazers then. Yeah.
He's with the Blazers.
He was on the Blazers then.
The Blazers,
yeah.
But it's not because like, because if you were a GM, like, would you draft the best player available, or would you draft the best fit for your team?
So personally, in basketball particularly, I would go best player. Because it's one. I mean, there's 5 players. It's the one sport where really one guy can significantly, like seriously change your organization. So I always go best player. And honestly, this is why. So yesterday, Michael Porter Jr. had balls out, right?
Yeah,
the day of the draft. I mean, we could rewind to my podcast that day because I remember recording it the day of that podcast. I think it was 2 years ago. The Bulls drafted Wendell Carter Jr. Yeah, and I think he's gonna have a solid NBA career. I'm not saying he's gonna be a terrible player, but I said if we're gonna go high ceiling, we go Michael Porter Jr. right now because we don't have any even options. Who gives a fuck? If you look at the NBA, you got to go for a tall guy who can move and shoot and score, and then we work around that. And the Bulls just have no foresight to the future, in my opinion. And I'm not even saying he's gonna be amazing, but the risk to me was a higher risk, less reward, or whatever, however the fuck you say that.
I think a lot of people were scared off by his back, by his
and I get that. I do get that.
Which is fair. But I'm on the same train. When each draft pick that went by, he wasn't selected. I was like, man.
I didn't think he was gonna be around. Some people compared him to Kevin Durant when he was younger. Yeah. I mean, that's solely just on that right there. I would have gambled. I would have been like, maybe we just think about it.
I mean, again, being from Chicago, like Chicago organizations frustrate me to no end.
God.
Because it's literally like, just why can't we get it right? Like literally stick, especially the Bulls.
We got so close to getting Kobe, and I know you feel that. You're like the biggest Kobe fan I know. We really did get very close to getting it. He's admitted that. He admitted that. Like,
honestly, like I think like my dad still has the newspaper clipping of Kobe and in his 24 jersey with the Bulls colorway.
Oh man, yeah.
But
it hurts.
Man, yeah. I mean, again, hindsight, it worked out. They managed to go to the 3 straight finals with more championships, but Kobe was his foot was in Chicago's door.
Yeah, he was ready.
He was there, and man, when it didn't go through, man, it's just one of those things where it's like like when we look at like Chicago, because it's like, man, we like as a front office, it's like, yo, I don't even know anymore.
We could have traded for Kevin Garnett back in the day. That was an option. We declined. There's like a bunch of, if you look into like the trade offers that were in the air, like we could have had like a lot of superstars.
Yeah,
it's pretty sad.
It's pretty sad because again, like Chicago, like is one of the largest markets.
Yeah.
And then again, because of Michael Jordan, the prestige is there, and it's just one of those things where like if there was just a more competent front office, people would love to come. People want to play for Chicago. Like they want to come to Chicago Bulls.
I think that they don't want to play for this organization right now.
Yeah, they don't play for the organization. Like it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Like when I worked in New York, I'm just going back and forth with people about the Knicks. It's like, yo, we literally just have an argument of which organization is the worst at the moment because it's the same thing.
I'd feel more confident in the Knicks right now. They just signed Thibs. Oh. Yeah, I mean, I feel.
Yeah, Thibs, especially when you look at what which again, he had like kind of the blemish with in Minnesota, but you can't forget what he did in Chicago. Like
he's a good coach. I think no matter what, especially if you have like a struggling organization, like he knows basketball. Like he'll get them to at least win some games. He'll get He'll get RJ Barrett to be better, no matter what. Even if they don't get really good, he'll get RJ Barrett to get better.
Let me mention two things to you about Thibs. Actually, two things. One, do you think he's fit for a head coach, or is he more of an assistant head coach, kind of defensive guru kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, he was great in that role in Boston. Like that was like the best role I think he ever had because he didn't have to have the face of it. I mean, it's hard because I think what that goes with is basically the difference between a head coach and an assistant coach. Let's be honest. There's two differences. One is you're talking to the press more, and the second is you're doing the in-game substitutions. That is the absolute. That is the main difference between the head coach and the defensive coach, or the offensive coach, or whatever. That's the assistant coaches.
Yeah.
And I think he admittedly would admit he wasn't great at that. But the same strategy that got him to run players into the ground is the same strategy that got us to win 60 games. So it's hard to differentiate. And like, if Derek tears his ACL in the 2 minutes when we're up 20, wouldn't he have torn the ACL in the next game? Who knows? I mean, he might have.
That was my next point. It's like, again, it could have happened at any point, next point, but going back to that specific games, I think it's one of those things every fan, Chicago Bulls fan, Derrick Rose fan, basketball fan, that's just one of those things that just sticks out because that's one of those injuries that just change.
It changed the Bulls.
It changed D Rose's career. It changed the Bulls as a franchise. It just changed so much.
And at the time, I was mad at Thibs.
Yeah, that's what I was actually like. Do you blame Thibs? Like
at the time, I was.
Yeah. At the time, I was like, at the time, it was a minute 14 left. The game is pretty much over.
He did not need to be in the game. There was no reason. But you know what though? Straight up, like now in retrospect, like you're up 20 and you have the ball. Derek drove aggressively to the hoop and made a jump stop. Like that's not enough. I mean, like. It's just hard, man. Like these guys are ball players. Like they're just playing ball. Like he's just out there. And you don't want to put him in a situation that he doesn't need to be in. But it goes back to the knee strength or whatever. Like that shit was probably inevitable for his career. He put so much wear and tear on those. He was so. And by the way, what about his resurgence? Like that guy.
Talk about well deserved and just. It's just again as a fan of D Rose and also a fan of basketball, it's just great to see.
I wanted him to get on the Lakers because I really wanted him to be on a team that had a deep run in the playoffs.
I wanted him on the Lakers so bad, and I think given the role he's playing now, he would have fit with the Lakers.
Yeah, perfectly. That's what I mean. Like that, he would have been. Yeah,
fit perfectly. Like,
I'm amazed. What do you think about the Lakers choosing Dion Waiters over like everybody? Like the Jamal Crawford. I'm just really surprised they didn't sign Jamal Crawford. I thought they were going to sign Jamal Crawford.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, again, it's working so far. So not.
Yeah, no, he actually looks way better. I always make fun of him, but he looks good. Like I'm not.
Yeah, again, I seen this funny thing on Twitter. He had a situation in Miami. I think he ate an edible.
Yeah. He was just out of it.
Like, ate an edible, got suspended, got cut from Miami, end up on the Lakers, and you possibly win a ring.
Yeah, what a good trip from that edible, right? Yeah.
But like speaking of Jamal Crawford, like I'm happy he got signed to Brooklyn, but he's one of those guys like when I was looking at the Lakers as a team, like I'm like they need shooting, they need somebody who can score aside from LeBron and AD and Kuz, because Kuz can light it up. Like I'm like Jamal Crawford just sitting there. Like
I couldn't believe it.
he sat there for months. Like, why he didn't get picked up?
And he's a veteran, so you don't have to worry about any of that bullshit. Like, I guess my guess is that the coaching staff looked at something defensive, or maybe it was the numbers. Like, honestly, I was so confused. I just couldn't understand it.
Which J.R. Smith, like, again, I don't think he gets enough credit defensively as he should.
No, he's J.R. Smith is a baller.
Like J.R. Smith, I think that was a great pickup. He played with LeBron, won a ring, can shoot it, can get hot, and like literally just go crazy. Like you just shoot, like you go crazy. But yeah, Jamal Crawford definitely was something I had a question about. Like why he didn't like.
I was surprised, but I'm hoping that while he's on the Nets, he can just have one of these like 50-point, just like ball out.
Yeah, just one more time.
Just give me one more. Just give me one more. Like
he has it in him.
Yo. What is up? I hope you are enjoying this wonderful NBA chat with me and my good friend KT. Before we get into the rest of the talk, I want to remind you that you can get your Passion Park merch at passionpark.threadless.com. Currently, there is a sale on all t-shirts for just $15. There is always new sales on the site, so make sure you check it out, passionpark.threadless.com. We just released our brand new logo for Passion Park Entertainment. So you can grab anything, grab a t-shirt, grab a hat, grab a face mask. I just bought my face mask. Get a hoodie, any of that stuff. It's all available at passionpark.threadless.com. I truly appreciate any support. Anybody out there rocking a Passion Park t-shirt, whenever I see that, it makes me feel great. It really does. I got friends that are just like, you randomly they're wearing a t-shirt, they're just going throughout their day, and that to me, that shit is beautiful. It's wonderful. So thank you to everybody who has been supporting the company over time. And make sure, if you want to continue to do so going forward, you go to passionpark.threadless.com to get your brand new merch. And I'm going to shut up. Well, I guess I'm not going to shut up because I talk more in the conversation. You know what? Whatever. Enjoy the rest of my conversation with me and KT.
But I want to shift over to the Western Conference. When you look at matchups, as always, the Western Conference is always
it's stacked. The whole conference
every year. I will say this: you don't want to see Houston in the first round.
No, dude. You
don't like right now. I'm looking at right now as the standings is Denver.
Yeah, they're a game and a half back. Yeah.
Houston and Utah will be in the first round. I would have Houston beating.
Yeah, I got Houston winning that series.
I would have Houston doing that.
But like I said this, like Houston, the one thing that's really scary right now is that like I can totally see James Harden averaging 50 points for a month. That doesn't surprise. That wouldn't surprise me.
Remember when Kobe had those crazy runs that season in 2007 when he scored?
Dude, he averaged almost like
he averaged 50 a month. James Harden. If they're like, if you got to choose a quick number of people who can score 80 or who can break the 81-point game, James Harden's in that
conversation, dude. You know what's really interesting? I almost forgot about this, but when I was talking about the TJ Warren 50 thing, and so it made me watch. This is kind of off topic, but a little bit on. It made me watch so Devin Booker's 70-point game was replayed on like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Me and my brother are watching this, and we were like disgusted. We wanted to throw up because if you watch that game. They're not trying. Like at the end of it was a blowout. So they're losing the whole game, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end, like the Suns who are losing by 20 are calling timeout so that Devin Booker could score more points. Earl Watson, by the way, was their coach and is no longer a coach in the NBA.
Yeah. So it felt like 70 points to 70, like it's bugging.
But that was what I was gonna get to. Like, is it because then I printed off this sheet of all the top scoring games in the NBA history, right? And there's only a select amount where the team loses, and there's a select amount where it's just a complete blowout, and you look at it. And Devin Booker's is a clear one that's like, what the fuck is this? There's a couple other ones that are on there. David Robinson scored 70. Yeah, but it was on the last game of the season, so he could become the scoring champion.
The scoring champ. Which that's a pretty cool story.
It is a cool story, but if you watch, it's the same thing as all these. Like if you watch the game, it's just not normal basketball. Like it's not regular. But if you watch TJ Warren's 53 the other night, every single shot fucking mattered.
It was in the rhythm. And like that actually reminds me of Kobe's 81. When you watch that game, it wasn't like
they were losing.
They were losing. He scored 81. He brought them back. Like I think they were down almost 20 at one point.
His was legit.
They won by 14, and like he looked like, but like it was like game like TJ Warren's 50 point, Kobe's 81. Like when James when they score, it comes in the flow of the game.
Yeah,
And
it was
like,
a real Kobe's was a real in game. Like basketball didn't change. That was just
yeah,
him scoring. Damian Lillard hitting that I think he scored 60 when he hit that crazy step back. All those points matter. Like to me, TJ Warren's 53 is equivalent to Devin Booker's 70. Kiss my ass. Like that's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, like not all buckets are the same. Like like it's one of the things. Like of course, you have a chance to be in the history book. So hey, if you had nothing to lose, go for it. But Devin Booker is definitely a guy. Like I want to see him. Like his career is still young, but
no, I love Devin Booker. I don't want to hate on him.
I want to see him like eventually in a situation where he can actually be he can put those numbers up on a winning team and actually Well,
he had a beautiful game winner. He had a very reminiscent of Kobe game winner today. If you saw that, yeah.
So what's up with Paul George getting game winners on him? Dame hit him with a game winner in the playoffs. Like
Paul George getting hit. Hey man.
Yeah,
but when you guard the best players, man, that shit gonna happen.
It happens. There's no shame in playing defense.
Yeah.
But real quick before you leave, I just want to give a shout out to Chris Paul. Who would have thought Oklahoma City and Chris Paul would be where they are right now?
For real. And I heard somebody say that was their safe pick as maybe the third best team because I watched them yesterday. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander got some real game. Yeah. Chris Paul really puts them together. I think they're good.
Yeah, they are. And again, nobody expects them to get out the first round.
Yeah, but they match up with Denver. I could see them upsetting Denver.
Honestly, yeah. Hey, I will say this. I'm not too sold. Denver has a great team. I just think the West is when you look at Clippers, Lakers, Houston. Denver. I'm just still I'm not all in them just yet.
I know. I like them. I like Jokic, but
I like them a lot. Like talent wise, like going forward in the future. Yeah, I just think just built for right now.
Yeah. So do you think there's some people who have said because of this weird situation, a weird team is going to make it out? I kind of still am sticking with my Bucks Lakers prediction. We can switch these picks. These are going to be switched. We'll have more talks. We'll do that. We can switch them up. But right now, do you think that we're going more chalk, or do you think that something weird is going to happen because of how this shit is?
I can see something weird. I can see that, but I'm gonna stick with the Bucks and Lakers as well. I just think,
so. They're so good. They're so much better.
Out, this is a perfect situation for LeBron to grab another one. This perfect situation just to clash with the Titans. I'm gonna stick with that. But if something weird happened, I
wouldn't be completely shocked. Yeah,
I'd be like, wow.
I mean, what if we had because the weirdest option right now, I suppose, would be so the only team I could see that's a low seed sneaking out in the East is Philly. They catch hot or something like that. Yeah. And then you have a Philly, Houston or something like that. That'd be kind of weird.
Yeah, I was looking at that too. Yeah, I was looking at it's Philly and Houston would be two lower seeds.
That could be a weird one.
That just got weird. Yeah.
What if that happened? What if Philly, Houston? We should put money on that.
I'm gonna ride with Houston. It's crazy only because the Lakers is a team, but I definitely want to see Russ get at least one.
Yeah, I like Wes. I think so, or Westbrook. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I don't dislike Harden. It's just he makes it's the style of basketball. It's different, for the fluidity of the game. But he is. If you're a fan of basketball, to not acknowledge how good he is a lie to yourself.
It's all said and done, which you can make argument now. When you just look at pure scoring,
he's one of the best scorers of all time. There's no
argument. Top 5 to 10, easy. There's no debate.
The clip of him the other day doing that sideline view that they're showing now with this no fans thing. Which, by the way, that's a thing that I kind of like about the no fans on the sideline is they're doing all these other views and shit. It looks like you're there.
Yeah, it's adding a different dimension.
Yeah, he splits the D and does a euro and crosses, and it's the most fluid thing. It's like he's dancing. It's amazing. He's so good.
It's truly an art form. The way the game is played now, players like James Harden, which again, I think James Harden, the fact he can score so effortlessly, I think he can score he's a scorer. He gets buckets. You can put him in any area, he's going to score. But the way it's played now is perfectly tailored for him, and for him to just go crazy.
It kind of is. Well, I'm going to go watch Blazers and whoever the hell they're playing right now. I can't remember.
They play Houston.
The Heat won. I just turned that on. So the Heat did beat the Celtics. So the Heat are staying where they're at. I mean, oh, Butler didn't even play. Didn't even see that. I don't know. You know who I love on the Heat? Duncan Robinson, baby.
Yeah.
He played D3.
I love stories like that because it show you don't need to go to a big name school or be a high draft pick, none of that.
Nah, man. That dude has one of the most beautiful jump shots. It's just pure. It's butter, baby. Butter.
Right now, Rockets and Blazers playing right now. Who you got?
So I have Well, I made a fantasy team for this game actually, like a FanDuel. I play FanDuel all the time. I think I'm picking the Blazers in this game because they need it more. They're trying to get that 8th seed. And I think the Grizzlies lost yesterday, right? So the Blazers.
They did. Yeah, they did.
Did you see that Chuck picked the Blazers to beat the Lakers if the Blazers can get the 8th seed?
Yeah, like I love Charles Barkley.
I think he was bullshitting just to get.
I love Charles Barkley, but a lot of I don't even think he believes a lot of the shit he was saying.
I think he was bullshitting specifically because he doesn't think they're gonna get in. Because I'm like that, you can't really believe that, dude.
Like you don't really like the Blazers will be a tough out. Which again, shout out to my man Melo. I love it. Everybody who disrespected him, like he stuck with it. Like I love it. Like I love it so much. But like nah.
I don't.
But again, with the way the format is, look,
it is
like
true.
Basketball, one of these 7-game series, come down to game 7, somebody hit a jump shot, lucky shot, 50-footer, and you get put out. That's why we love basketball.
It's true. Usually the better team wins a 7-game series, but there's been occasional times where shit has happened. I mean, the Golden State Warriors, that 8th seed to beat the Mavs. Remember they beat the Director Nowitzki, Baron Davis, beat Diddy, and then the Knicks in '99. They were an 8th seed. They made it to the finals.
Yeah.
And that was a strike. That was a 50-game season, so that's kind of like this.
Season,
strike shortened season.
Yeah.
All right, I got the Magic winning it all. That's it. Yo, I did. The one thing I will say is, well, there's 2 things before I close this out. The Wizards, why are they even there? That's crazy.
Yo, I feel like the NBA just kind of just want to
they threw one East team in. They're like, we'll just
come on, whatever. At this point, it's almost like bullying.
And when I watched the Lakers and the Clippers play the other night, I texted my brother and I was like, how are the Bulls in the same league as these teams? They don't look like a team that should be in the league.
Man,
like G League. It's like
it's just not a good, as a Chicago sports fan, it's not a happy time right now.
We'll get there though. Kobe White has been on some commercials. We'll get him. Him going. I like Kobe White. I like Kobe White.
Yeah, I like him. He's a worker. So he could be. I like Zach LaVine. He's definitely evolved and he's shown a lot more than what you thought he could do when he was in Minnesota. But we got to see what happens.
Yeah, we got to get a superstar. I actually like LaVine a lot. Like he's super good, but I don't know. There's too many. They need something. They need that's the thing about the NBA. You just need I don't know, LeBron James. You need Anthony Davis. You need that. Yeah.
AD did a press conference a while ago, and he actually didn't rule out playing for Chicago at some point. But I don't trust the Bulls to not screw it up.
No, and he's gonna come here. He's gonna do Dwayne Wade and come here after he's won 4 championships in LA, the frustration.
Maybe the Bulls can be like Denver, don't have a true they have an all-star, but don't have a true superstar. Just play by committee to be really good. But again, I don't trust the Bulls to not.
It's all about coaching. Well, I mean, speaking to the Bulls thing, I mean, this could be a whole nother. But the Boylan, it looks like he's gonna stay around, which is a bother. I don't like this at all. I mean, we got a new GM, and you're gonna keep Boylan? What the hell are you doing? He's the worst coach I've ever seen. He's worse than Vinny Del Negro, I think.
I want Mark Jackson to at least get an interview.
Oh, I would totally.
At least an interview. Just an interview. An interview, man.
That would be nice. He deserves the job, man. He deserves the job. He was great.
I don't know, I don't even want to get into the politics of the whole situation or what's going on with him in the background that we don't know about.
There is definitely. Wasn't there always some shit with him? People didn't like him, or something.
Yeah, I think because of his allegedly because of his beliefs and things like.
Because he's a pastor.
Yeah, I think pastor and
what the fuck?
One of the stories I read was I think with Golden State he clashed with management about his beliefs and in their sexuality or something like that. It was something.
Oh, something
around
like
that. Okay. Something like that. Which again, us.
And he was a coach in the Warriors, which San Francisco. I mean, I guess I don't know.
Yeah. So, which again, it's all about stories, and he say we don't even know. But just just taking the politics out of it, we just look at.
You should still be a coach. You should still be a coach.
We just look at just what he set up in Golden State, and just the fact that when you look at around the league and all these coaches getting recycled after having these losing seasons and just getting job after job, Mark Jackson deserves at least a conversation.
Oh, yeah, I like that Steve Kerr, I think, has acknowledged that Mark Jackson set up a lot of the work that he then put in.
And goes back to what we said earlier about coaches. Steve Kerr's the other one. He doesn't get the credit because of who he's coaching with. But again, You can't tell me that every coach in the league right now, you replace Steve Kerr with any other coach that they have the same success.
Oh no,
A
I don't think so. It's the same as Phil Jackson. It's the same to me as Phil Jackson. Like
of course Phil Jackson had Kobe, Shaq, Mike, Pip, and all them, but you can't just take any of the coaching and insert them and think it's gonna work.
No,
absolutely
that's not how it works.
No. A handful, sure. Every other coach, no.
No, I mean, even you know the one. If you got to feel bad for one, it's David Blatt in Cleveland because he left. Like Ty Lue, did he take over mid-season and win the championship?
Yeah, and just took over and just like that's one of those things. Like, man, that's like damn. Like,
yeah, he should. I don't know if he got a ring or not, but he should have got a ring.
He should have got one, right? He should have got one. Like, he at least he stuck with it at least a little bit, which it is. It's kind of messed up for real.
Well, I guess Frank Vogel will be his first year. They're gonna win a ring, maybe.
Yeah. Well, which again, like
you walk into LeBron and AD.
I was still skeptical about it. I actually wanted Jason. I was actually cool. Like they got Jason Kidd as an assistant.
Yeah.
But I was actually Jason Kidd was somebody I was like, because again when he did with Milwaukee, he set Milwaukee up nicely in the
there was a lot of things about him though, and him clashing with players or management. I think the way that he handled
management, yeah.
But I mean, whatever.
I think like I look at Greg Popovich, one of the best coaches in NBA history. Like you can't tell me like he's one of those guys like he's earned a right to like butt heads with management and players stuff like that, but he's had the opportunity to go through it. When you look at Jerry Sloan, he was the coach for 2 decades. Like it's like these like. Which again, it's like instant gratification. Teams don't allow coaches to kind of
they don't allow. That's why I think like Brad Stevens is gonna have a really long NBA coaching career because they let him have. I think the first couple of years he wasn't great, but they knew like he was like he's a good smart dude. Like
and like obviously there are certain coaches like you don't want to give them too long of a rope because they're just not good.
That's true.
But like you just like you could just know after the season, so like it's not gonna work.
That's how I feel about Jim Boylan though. That is how I feel about Jim Boylan. You can just watch him for one game and the timeouts he calls, and I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing?
I think when you look at New York, at some point, wasn't New York paying like five different coaches who weren't coaching?
That's
like
crazy.
So it's just certain things like don't make sense. But there are also certain coaches like you got to give them the opportunity to just, especially depending on the situation. Not everybody's gonna walk into a Golden State or a Boston and like have a great foundation laid out and ready to go. You got to got to let them grow, let them work it out. And just give them an opportunity like that way that they can make some mistakes and go through it.
Well, I think Nick Nurse is a pretty good example of that in Toronto because most people are saying, like you hear coaches and they're like, yo, he's the best coach. Like he just figured because I mean, well, look at without Kawhi. Like it's so clear that Kawhi was like he's the best player or he was the best player for them. It's so clear that he wasn't everything.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
Because we know he was doing a lot of load management, and they still
were good, the whole time.
Really well without him, really well without him. So
he's a good. He'll be around for a long time too. Yeah, there's a lot of guys. But see, then that makes you think about like the Mark Jackson thing. They're like, there's only 30 head coaching jobs in the NBA, and like so there's a rotation. And like these guys who Nick Nurse and Budenholzer and whatever, these guys are probably gonna be coaching for 15, 20 years. Like there's such a fine line of where you get a job. Like
like if you think playing the NBA is elite, head coaching NBA
think about that.
Is more elite than playing. Like it's a tight narrow window, man.
Think about that. Ain't that the shit? Well, thank you for talking to me. You are the next coach of the Phoenix Suns, and but I want to do these like regularly if you're down.
I'm down with it. Just let me know. I just want to give a shout out to you. Thank you, because I play, so it's nice to have a conversation with somebody who knows basketball. Because so many people like don't know basketball, so it's like when you hear certain conversations, I just don't even get them. Like,
dude, it's frustrating. That's what working behind a bar. You know how many times I'd be like, dude, you guys have no idea what's going on.
Man, it's like no, I don't. Okay, like
This is my NBA support group. This is my NBA AA group. This is our NBA
we got a quarantine. We got NBA back. Everybody staying safe and healthy. And this is definitely well needed. So thank you.
Hell yeah, bro.
I'm ready.
No, hell yeah, bro. We'll do it again. I don't know, ASAP. We'll talk though.
Yeah. Let me know.
Yeah, bro. All right. I'm gonna hit you up right after this.
All right, bro.
All right, bro. Appreciate you. And thank you very much for tuning into another episode of The David Lopez Show, presented by Passion Park ENT. Remember, you can go to www.thedavidlopez.com or you can go to www.passionparkent.com to really keep up with everything we got going on. I want to say thank you to everybody who does listen. It means the world. Make sure you go check out my new music, Let You Go, brand new song out, All I Know Part 2, that came out last month. And I got plenty of more new music coming out soon. And more podcasts, more chats, hopefully some more NBA talks and some more just like other perspectives on the show for you guys to enjoy and listen to as I want to take your guys' feedback and make the show better. So I want to keep this around for a long time. And thank you, as always, for tuning in. I will be back very soon. Enjoy the rest of your day or week or till the next time I talk. I hope you enjoy it. So, one love, guys. One love.